Welcome to Basic Calculus. My name is Carol DeFries and I'm going to be your instructor this semester. The purpose of this video is to give you a little introduction to the class and to fill you in on a few things that you need to do to prepare yourself for our very first class meeting. If you haven't looked at the syllabus yet, please look for it underneath the Syllabus tab on My Gateway. Read through it carefully because it explains all about how this class is run. It also mentions that you need a textbook for the class, but since you are purchasing access to My Math Lab, you will be able to use the electronic version of the textbook through My Math Lab. So unless you want a physical copy of the textbook, you probably do not need to buy a physical textbook. Calculators are not allowed on tests. So, if you're used to using a calculator, you want to wean yourself away from it. Get used to doing those simple arithmetic operations without a calculator. If you look at the schedule on your syllabus, you'll notice that it outlines for every day that we are in class which sections we are covering. Now you want to pay close attention to our first class day when we are covering the first 3 of the review sections. You either need your physical textbook to do that or the electronic version. And if you're using the electronic version, obviously you need a device to access that. Now you're also going to need some sort of device to access the internet because of the way this course is being taught. This section of the course is taught as a flipped classroom. That may be something that you've never experienced, or it may be something that you've never heard of. You're probably used to a traditional math classroom in which you come to class and the teacher talks at you for the entire class period while you take notes, and then you go home and you work on homework and you come back the next day and you start the process all over again. A flipped classroom gives you the opportunity to get the instruction at home through a video or through your book or maybe even a website. And then when you come to class, you're going to be working on some problems that will give you a deeper understanding of those concepts. So if this is what you thought you were going to be facing in this math class, this is really what our math class is going to be looking like. You'll be working in a group with other students, working on problems that might be familiar to you or maybe you're a little bit unsure about. But your group is there to support you and I'm there to support you too. So you need to look at the time that we're in class together as a learning time, a time to practice those skills that maybe are a little bit shaky for you, and to make sure that by the time you leave the classroom, you're feeling confident about the math. Now here's how a typical class period is going to go. We'll spend the first part of the class answering any questions you have, going over homework. That may take about 15 minutes. Then you're going to work in a group on some problems that you'll practice to sharpen your skills. We'll go over those problems for about 15 minutes, and then at the end of the class period, you're going to have a quiz over that material that you've practiced in class. The quizzes that you take in class are only given during that class period. So if you aren't in class, you will not be able to make those in-class quizzes up again. Now if you think about a traditional classroom where the teacher lectures and then you go home and do homework, the problem that can happen is if you don't do your homework, you just come to class for the lecture, you usually don't have a very good result. In a flipped classroom, you can also have a bad result if you don't do that preparation at home and you simply come to class and try to do the classroom activities without the preparation. You're going to have a bad result. So let's talk about how you can have a good result in a flipped classroom. And what I'd like to share with you is some information that students of mine have given me to pass along to future students in flipped classrooms. How can you be successful? Well, the one thing they've said, first of all, is when you watch those videos, you need to take notes, just like you would if you were sitting in a classroom. And you need to bring those notes with you to class when we're practicing those skills. The second thing they've told me is you shouldn't come to class unprepared, because if you do, you're going to feel really lost, and your group that you're working with is going to feel a little bit let down because you're not going to be able to contribute. Remember, with group work, you're learning from the other members of your group, but they're also learning from you. So what do you need to do to get prepared for our first class day? Well, according to our schedule, we're going to be covering the first 3 review sections on our first class day. So you need to get your device out, log onto My Gateway, and you will find a folder underneath the Docs and Assignments tab that says R1 through R3. In that folder, there's a link to a video that you can watch and prepare yourself for the first class. If for some reason you don't have internet access, or for some reason you just can't access the internet and can't get to that video, remember we're covering the first 3 sections, so you can use your textbook, whether electronic or physical, and you can go over those first 3 sections in the book on your own without the video. Most students prefer to watch the video. They find that that's a more direct way to get the instruction. Bring those notes with you to class on our first day, and we're going to practice those skills and see what you know and what you still need to sharpen. So I'm really looking forward to this semester. I hope you are too, and I will meet you in our first class period.